What's up guys, Dave from Red Dot Shooters here, and today I'm going to review the PSA Dagger. Let's go! Alright guys, so as you can see here I have a dagger. I think this one's called the full-size S. You know, they have different variations. This is mine. And what I have for you today is I'm just going to tell you how I set mine up, my experience shooting with this gun, and in the end I want to answer the question, is it just as good as a Glock? I have my own opinion on that, and like I said, at the end I'm going to tell you my answer to that question. But first I want to tell you the story of why I got this gun. So, I have another good friend who is into guns like me, you know, and I was over his place. He's got a lot of guns, he has more than me. And I noticed he had a dagger in his safe, and I also noticed he had another dagger frame. His was a compact. This has the full-size grip, which I prefer, depending on what you want to do with it. But for me personally, I usually like full-size grips. But anyway, he had the compact. I was messing around with it. I was holding it. I was dry firing it. And I was like, this thing is pretty cool. And I knew that they were affordable because I like PSA. I have a lot of their stuff. But anyway, long story short, that experience with his was like, okay, I need to get one of these because it's actually really cool. Especially for the price. So I didn't go into it blind. I knew kind of what I was going to get, not shooting wise, but definitely in terms of ergos and feel. So probably the next week or so I went on PSA's website, and you know, I like to make my guns unique. I like buying stock guns too, but usually I kind of mess around with them and make them my own in different ways. Even the M&P here. So anyway, PSA had a bunch of these guns, you know, fully assembled, ready to go. But I was like, I want to get a frame and I want to get my own slide and piece it together. So that's what I did. And so basically, I just bought the complete lower and the complete upper barrel, and with everything that it needed, and just put the two together. I mean, there's other options too. Again, you could buy the whole gun, you could buy it like I did, just a lower, the frame I should say, and the slide, or you could just buy like everything stripped and piece it together. But yeah, that's what I did. Now like I said, the first thing I want to do is go through mine and just tell you how I have it set up. So again, I bought the frame first, and the frame is serialized, so you do have to send it to an FFL if you buy it. That's what I did. But it was like on sale, it was super affordable. And I was looking at the options and I was like, I kind of like that OD green one. I like the FDE one. I like the black too. Black guns are cool too. But I don't know, for this one, I was like, that OD, or I don't know what they call it, sniper green or something like that. I was like, that's a cool color, and that's the one I decided to go with. And then the slide, they have a ton of options too. You can get black, you can get the same color green, you can get FDE, which I have, gray as well. And I was like, oh, I wonder, I've tried the green and FDE thing before. Let me try that with the dagger and see how it turns out. And I actually really like the way it turned out. I actually have, I think, 3 guns with this whole kind of scheme of the green and the tan on top. And I didn't plan that out. It just kind of naturally happened. I guess that's what I'm kind of drawn to. But yeah, I like the way it turned out. I think it's cool. It's kind of unique. And that's the thing too. You can set these up however you want to, which I really think is cool. And yeah, that's kind of the base of it. The green frame and the FDE slide. Now let's go through some of the features that this has and why I chose to go with each of those. We'll start out at the front here with the barrel. So like I said, the barrel came with the slide, but you don't have to go with one that's threaded. I like the threaded barrel look. I think it just looks cool, and that's why I got it. That's the main reason I got it. You know, I've even done that with Glocks as well. Do I intend to use the threading for anything? Maybe. I don't have a suppressor right now, and I think it's kind of annoying, the process of getting one. So I'm not saying I won't get one, but right now I don't have one just because of that whole process, which is stupid. Another thing I could do with the threaded barrel is put a comp on there, and that's something I might do. I might start experimenting with this gun and see if there's like an affordable comp that will go on there and work well. Everything I have on here is kind of budget minded. It's not the least expensive you could go with, but it's budget minded in its own way, okay? because the Dagger is a budget gun. So we'll get to the light, we'll get to the optic, but yeah, in my mind, everything is like, okay, what's budget and makes sense for this budget gun? But yeah, that's the barrel. Again, main reason I got that barrel is because I like the look of a threaded barrel. Now the next thing, this slide had these Ameriglow sights on it, and these sights, I don't know if you could see it or not, they're blacked out, which is what I like for a handgun that has an optic on it. And I love Ameriglow sights. One of the bummers for this particular setup that I have here is that even though they're suppressor height, they're not tall enough to co-witness with this particular optic, which we'll get to. These ones are kind of the lower 1/3 co-witness Ameriglows, and I'm pretty sure if you get the full size ones, the full like standard height suppressor height sights from them, then I'm pretty confident they will give you a co-witness with this optic. And that's something I may do with this gun in the future. I may take this optic off and put it on something else, but I actually really like this setup. But yeah, I do like that these sights are blacked out. I don't care for night sights, I just don't really see the point. I do like a fiber optic front if I'm just using iron sights. These sights on this M&P are fantastic. But yeah, if I have an optic, just give me something blacked out, simple, and affordable. And that's what the Ameriglows usually are. But like I said, they came with this whole slide together already. Next, let's talk about the optic. So the optic I have on here is the Swamp Fox Kraken, and it's pretty cool. I like this optic. It is kind of a budget acro. You know, it's the big mailbox enclosed emitter. And I actually like the look of them too. I didn't used to, but they grew on me. So yeah, it's kind of big. Some people think it's ugly. I don't think it's ugly. I do have a separate review on this optic. If you're interested in that, check it out on my channel. It's a great optic. It's durable, it's bright, and it has great battery life, and it's enclosed. So it's really cool. But one thing I heard another guy say one time about these big enclosed emitters is that they kind of change the recoil impulse of your gun. And I think that's true. I'm not positive because I have not shot this gun without this optic on it, but it's smooth. It really shoots smooth. And part of the reason is I have the light on here, which we'll talk about. But I also think part of the reason is because this big optic. I think it kind of slows the whole slide down a little bit without making it unreliable, and we'll talk about reliability. But yeah, I like it. I like the impulse of this gun. It's a really smooth shooter. It does have kind of a small window, but you know, practice shooting with both eyes open and it's not really that big a deal, I don't think. Alright, so takedown of this gun is the same as a Glock, so just look up how to field strip a Glock and you'll find out. Slide release works just fine. I used it on reloads and it was very good. Magazine release, here's something. So the Dagger is a Gen 3 Glock clone, so it has kind of the Gen 3 style of mag release on a Glock. I do not like the Gen 3 mag release. I prefer the Gen 4, Gen 5 big paddle. It's a lot easier to use, but and this is kind of a negative, but even with it being small, if it had texturing on here, I would like it better. It's smooth. That's probably something they did to save money when they were producing these things. I don't know. But I don't like that it's smooth. You know, I was able to hit it just fine when I was reloading, but I didn't like it. I want some texture on there. I might just take a soldering iron and put some texturing on it myself. But yeah, that's one negative. That is one thing I don't like about the Dagger. It should not be smooth. Put some texture on there. What should we do next? Okay, let's talk about the light. So as you can see here, this is the Creative XP, and it's called the Glass Eagle. I like this light quite a bit. It's an affordable option. I got it on Amazon. I have a review coming out for it. It's not quite done yet, but this is a cool, affordable weapon light. It's bright, it's reliable, but one of the things I really like about it is it's the same profile, the same shape as a Surefire X300, which is really cool. And the reason that's cool is because it allows you to use more holsters with this gun. Now there's more holsters that are specifically designed for the Dagger, but earlier on there weren't that many. And we'll talk more about holsters a little bit later. This is about the light. I like that it's the X300 shape because that gives you a lot of holster compatibility, and I just like the light. It is a weight on the end of the gun, which makes the gun shoot smoother. That's a major benefit of having a light on a gun, aside from being able to identify a target at night. That weight makes a gun shoot smoother, and I like having it on here. Again, this whole setup is a really smooth shooter, and that just makes it really fun. So. Magazine. The magazine that came with a gun is a PMag 17 rounder. It works fine. My OEM Glock mags work just fine. Trigger. The trigger on the Dagger is pretty good. Now, a lot of people are not gonna like the fact that it's a hinging trigger, but for me, I've never really had a problem with the hinging triggers. I've been shooting M&Ps for a long time. I've got 4 M&Ps, all with the hinge triggers, and for me personally, I never had a problem with them. Some people do, some people don't like them, but that's just not the case for me. So the Dagger trigger, I'm fine with it being a hinge trigger, even though I don't mind a bladed trigger as well, but I also like the break on it. It's lighter than a stock Glock. I think it's a better trigger pull than I get on a stock Glock. Now, on my Glocks, you can see I modify them a lot. So I fix the triggers on them, I make them the way I want them. And if you want to see everything I've done with, my Glocks and stuff, links below, you can check them out on my website. I explain everything I've done with them. But yeah, I didn't do anything to the trigger on the Dagger, and I like it a lot. I think it's a pretty good trigger. Aside from that, I like the fact that you have a little bit of a beaver tail, so you can really get up high on the gun when you're shooting and try to get control. And then I also really like this texturing. This texturing is not aggressive. Like, it doesn't hurt your hand at all, like some of them do. Like I have an M&P 2.0, and I like the way it feels, but it is aggressive, and that helps it be really grippy. The really cool thing about the texturing on the Dagger is it's very grippy. You get a good purchase on this thing, but it's not, painful at all. And the overall ergonomics of it really feel great. It feels better than a Glock, I think. That's my opinion, and I love Glocks. So I think ergonomics-wise, it feels better than a Glock. And texture-wise, it's also better than a Glock. So yeah, I think PSA did a great job in terms of the frame and the grip on this pistol. Alright, so now let's talk about how it shot. So first question is it accurate? And let me just show you. I mean, so I've got, groups from several different guns on this target here, but look at some of the Dagger ones. This wasn't that far away. I think this was 10 yards when I was shooting this. But you can see here, these were, I think, my first shots with the Dagger. Nice little group. Here's another pretty decent group over here. I don't remember if this one was the Dagger or not, but this one was right here. That's a pretty good group right there. Another Dagger group right here. M&P 2.0 right here, that's a smoking group. That was with iron sights too. And the gun malfunctioning because I had crappy ammo, but that's a different review. And here's one too, I mean, I think it's just fine. Accuracy is good. Same as a Glock, same as every other striker fired gun. It gets them on target. You know, here's another group I had with it. That's a great group with the Dagger. I think it was 10 yards. I don't remember for sure. But yeah, you're not going to get much better than that with a handgun, I don't think. And here's kind of a comparison, you know. Here's the Dagger right here, and here's this G17. So yeah, great groups from both. Accurate guns. Accuracy on the Dagger is very good. Now aside from that, like I told you before, I also really like the recoil impulse on this gun. And again, I don't really know if it's just the way I set this gun up, or if it's the Dagger in general. I honestly need to shoot the Dagger with... I have shot it without the light, so that's fine. I need to shoot it without this optic on it. It shoots really smooth. The recoil it's just smooth, and it makes the gun pleasant to shoot. It makes it fun. And I had a great time shooting this gun. I really enjoy taking this gun out to the range and shooting with it. It's a fun gun. So it is accurate, it is a smooth shooter. Is it reliable? Well, here's my answer. I did have malfunctions with this gun, but I don't blame the gun. So let me explain. So I bought a batch of really cheap reloads, and I've done that for years. I've done that many times. This was a new brand of reloads, and they absolutely suck. They really just... They're super weak, and this ammo in particular just sucks. I mean, I brought that ammo out for the first time, and I was having malfunctions in every gun except the Glocks, okay? So, actually it was the Glocks and the SIG P320, oddly enough. They were both running that ammo just fine. The Dagger was running the ammo decent, but it did have some hangups with that crappy ammo. I have since taken this gun out and shot, you know, factory ammo with it. With factory ammo, it's 100% reliable. So I think the reliability is very good. Is it the same as a Glock? Well, in my experience, no, because the Glock could handle that really crappy reloaded ammo. And this one, even though it was shooting it better than some other guns, like for example, I had an M&P 2.0 that was shooting this crappy ammo, I couldn't go one shot without having a malfunction. And basically, the round would just get jammed up and not go fully into the chamber. So it would be stuck up there. With this gun, I could go through, you know, a mag or two and then have maybe 1 or 2 malfunctions. So I think the reliability is pretty good. I also think the spring is kind of stiff and needs to be worked in a little bit. If you shoot good ammunition, and I'm not saying like premium ammo, just good affordable ammo, this thing should run just fine. Now I mentioned holster compatibility a little bit before. So back in the day there were no Dagger holsters. There are now, so you can definitely find them. And sometimes it's said that you could just use Glock 19 holsters. Sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. If you actually look at the trigger guard, they're a different profile, which might hang you up when you're getting a holster, if that holster is a dedicated Glock holster. But I knew I wanted to put a light on it anyway, and I ended up trying this whole setup out with a Glock holster that was set up for an X300. Here's a holster I bought for it. It's a Bravo concealment. I bought it on Amazon because I wanted to test out this light and this whole setup. It's just a G19 holster set up for the X300, and it was fairly affordable too. So does it fit? It fits good enough. You can draw from it, you can reholster from it. Retention is good. You can adjust the retention a little bit. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you put a light on it, I think you're going to have more holster options, especially if that light is X300 in shape or the Streamlight, you know, profile. I think you're going to have a lot of holster options if you put a light on it. But even if you don't, like I said, there's a lot of options right now just for the straight Dagger. So just make sure you're getting it for the compact slide version of the Dagger, not the way full-size one, because I'm not sure if that one will fit or not. Alright, and that kind of takes us toward the end of this review, but again, we have a very important question that needs to be answered. In my opinion, is the PSA Dagger just as good as a Glock? My answer is no, but. So like I told you before, I don't think it's as reliable as a Glock, and the overall fit and finish is not as good as a Glock's. A Glock, when you have both in hand, you could tell that a Glock is a more quality gun. Now that being said, is it a great gun for its price point? I think the answer is absolutely yes. I think the Dagger is a great gun. It's not as good as a Glock, but it's a great gun in its own right. And the reason I say that is because the price is super affordable on it. Mine is a super smooth shooter. It's a fairly reliable gun, more reliable than some of my other guns. At least that's what I found when I was shooting crappy ammo. And it's accurate. It's just as accurate as every other striker fired handgun. So is the PSA Dagger a gun you should get? If you like the look of it, if you like the price of it, I think it's awesome. I really like my Dagger right here. I love the way I set it up. Again, the one thing I need to change is I need taller sights for this particular optic, but if you're running just like a Holosun, these will be the right height for you. But yeah, this gun is awesome. I love the price, I love the way it shoots, and I love that you can kind of piece it together on their website. That to me is just a fun thing to do. So yeah, if you're interested in the Dagger, I've had a great experience with mine, and I think you probably will too. And also, if you see anything on this gun, I will leave a link to my website. There's a parts list of this whole gun. Go there, check it out if you like the setup and want to find out more about it. Alright guys, that's all I have for you. The PSA Dagger is awesome. I hope this video helped you out, and I hope you come back for the next one. See ya.